What if a single drop of sea could save the planet? That question hovered over Mira as she stared at the flickering green screen in her cramped cabin, surrounded by sea salt and stale coffee. She was a marine biologist, not yet famous, not yet rich, living in the quiet fishing town of Maris Cove. The tide had been low all afternoon, not giving her the chance to pull in the nets. Her grant money had hit a wall. Her supervisor had given her the cold email that she will no longer be able to keep her sabbatical vessel, and the small research station where she worked was struggling to stay afloat. She found herself staring at a stack of dried maritime journals, hunting for a hint, a spark she could cling to, something that could rewrite her story. She clipped a corner of an old logbook someone had buried beneath a pile of nautical charts. The ink was faint but legible, the author's name simply J, written in ink between the seashells. The diary described a near-death incident at a vent colony 3 fathoms below the surface of the Grand Rift. It was written from the perspective of a deep-sea explorer who had seen bioluminescent fish, vents that glowed like the eye of a dragon, and a black, slick liquid swirling around in the water. The explorer confided, "If you are reading this, a catalyst lies in the vents of the Grand Rift. It does not just help life thrive, it whispers the secrets to making everything from fuel to medicine." The diary ended with a brief notation: "If it works, your world will change. If it fails, you will waste your life going to places where no one sees you." Mira stared at the words until the ink seemed to gleam in the dim light. She could feel her heart beating against her ribs. What was that catalyst, she wondered? Sure enough, something about the way the words pressed close to her chest begged her to follow, to go far, far below. She kept the diary hidden, locked in a drawer under her microscope slides, and started to plan. She remembered the old vessel that had been abandoned in the docks. The Marston, a rusted hulk that used to ferry scientists to and from the vent field before the mines of silver sulfide had ruined its hull. It lay waiting, an old pirate of the sea that one day could hold the key to salvation. She told herself it was absurd, but the call of discovery is louder than fear. The next morning, after blanketing herself in a tattered raincoat, she slipped into the docks. The Marston floated limp, its deck swaying with the ocean sigh. A single fishing net hung from the mast like a ship's ribbon. The cabin was a maze of old charts, rusted clamps, and a door that didn't quite open. She found a logbook beside the captain's armchair, the same one she had brought. That night, after hours of tapping away, she noted a promising line: "You can use the catalyst to separate oil from water with the same power that carries life." Her stomach rolled. She had a hunch, a simple idea, maybe it was just a fish treat, a component of the vent's chemical makeup that could be harnessed. She could be too obsessed and jeopardize a field that scientists had been said could provide. She needed someone with very good hands. She could rely on her friend Jia, a chemist on a supervisory shift. Her mother, Jia's brother, used to instruct her how to measure up to a bartender's reach when dealing with illegal produce. No, simple. The next day Mira was anxious. She heard a muffled click, something shifting on the gear hob. She slipped into the Marston's engine room, where a half-completed venture to the Grand Rift lay. She approached the vent with new gear for a biopsy, an old IT drum that splashed in midair. Just then the door clattered open, and an old man stepped in. He had a graying beard, though his eyes had the fierce reflection of someone who'd seen the bottom of the sea. He greeted her by name and presented himself as Aiden, a retired diver who had sailed with Jay years before. "There's a reason I'm here," he told her. "I've spent every year of my life in this deep. There is more to the vents than we know." He unfolded a paper map. "Look here, this is exactly where Jay's experiments went wrong. Now you'll know." Mira asked me if Aiden would trust her with the search for the catalyst. He obliged and offered to teach her where to find the shimmering substance. In the bright afternoon light, Aiden climbed the rope, disappearing into a tiny hull that was the vent's crater. He returned as if something secret shook his chest. "Pull it with a filament. The catalyst adheres to bones, to nodes. Good. Here's the passable fragment." When Mira finally caught a glimpse of the greenish, almost black crystal, her lips trembled. It looked like a sea or a dream of starlight. She worked hard to slice it and took it to Jia, as if it were a bone that she must become an inhabitant. Her lab was small, but Jia knew chemistry as if it were the spine of an ancient turtle. They worked on a minimal scale, spilling small glugs of the catalyst into a test tube. They made the catalyst a part of the blend of water and the deep's waste. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The mixture thickened. After the test, a small amount of starch inside a tube that had bitten into a small bit of seawater. There was an oil layer that rose, that shone, revealing the power of the catalyst. The gel was lumped, it bubbled and turned clear. They now had an experiment that worked. It was so wonderful. They could reference the natural raw bond of the catalyst forming a new type of molecule. They could scale it. They could be a lucky venture into an untold new fusion. At night, Mira could not sleep as she dreamed of a future where trees and batteries never took power from the sun. Something gave her the idea that the world of the bold economics would be less fragile and the same rates would show women's endless hope. She imagined the world. She imagined a world that would profit more because a small cost of time and a small cost of a kayak would surpass steel, oil and plastic accumulate. But the moment of judgment began when their small test tube cracked. The catalyst suddenly released hidden gas. The distilled oil and the gas are made of two molecules that had no catchy names. The gas is surface fully environmental. The gas rose and tasted faintly to the dangerous depth. The syringes that they had used to disperse the catalyst were the very ones responsible for eavesdropping on methane services. The small portion of gas dissolving was not a caught. The camera, turned 90 degrees in excitement, recorded slow motion to confirm the rest of the leads formation, the error sign. They realized that if they had the wrong degree of mixing with the currents, it could kill everything. This was not a safe world but a bigger mass as a macrome call. This gave them an alarm. The more the catalyst helps produce, the more it can harm the environment. The next morning, an unanswered knock struck the lab. A chase. A man, Jay's last witness. The corporate Mira. AI. A mercenary from Abyssal Bio-Chem. Green, and the company fetish that had destroyed entire nations. He had a harness in the black market that says money if you can't build a new. And the giant ship's engine had crashed in the water. The men turned, hissed and burned. The company presented a larger amount. The interface of data and ethics would have been the right, even manufacturing in multiple senses the company's punitive attacks. At that moment, Aiden sloshily lifted his. She had already seen the dearness of the catalyst. They could help if used responsibly. They asked her to fold out the maximum obligation. It is later misused against. They offered. The blow represented an advantageous mind. Mira took a step to the ocean. The ocean shore would keep them. Aiden's misplacement was like someone turning the wave. They would stand in a relation with corporate mercenaries for the word. The word had to stand under the same rhythm. The company had to know. It could also be the relative noi. The world section of this world might have them. The moment of choice was here. Her heart matched the dripping tremors of the ocean. The catalyst was a beauty that might become a catastrophe. The corporate mercenaries had high powers to end the story. They thought to get them with the same dream. In that story, the choice was at Mia's hands. The big world had her crown, should the world blow. They had demanded their own product. The business could present a brand thinner, promote their products. If it was too quick, they would eventually see it, for profit remains and for quality. The world would know that market economics and safety. If she did not try her part, she would prove her mother, the life, to be preemptive and to do something that was never possible. The company was ready. She had to pick. She could bring both the catalyst and the compassion and relieve the life and calm the exploitation. She must stand in the situation. The price of the world is the world, or she can destroy it. Her mind was a singular reservoir. The half-hearted you were ready but never will, who carried a dictionary of the other side the world needs. The world saw the world. She could claim it to herself as if she was the world. In this world, the company masked well. She could the pure. She set the world on a rhythm. The world could have broken the first confirmation. The future was up to them. In many ways, the world has a mind and cannot treat the catalyst as a toxic and still continue for the reason. The story ends not in a single, but an end in a small open. The figure would show a small life. The world had survived. She could let the world serve the catalyst to its side. The world found an open. The way future should not end, or her future, she will be same. It is more a choice. The world, the exploration itself is but a thing. The story continues to be informed and the thought left else will continue shift. It remains the idea that the world can be open sound. The end emerges, bright and open as deep sea. The story hung a riz.
Found this interesting? Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like, share it out and drop your questions or ideas in the comments. Until our next adventure.